Hey guys, I'm Chris Scott with Fit Recovery. I want to make a short video here about the psychological component of beating alcohol addiction. And a lot of the articles on Fit Recovery and other videos that I've made have to do with giving your body what it needs to repair itself and to produce the hormones and neurotransmitters that you need to feel stable after you quit drinking and also to eventually feel optimal. And I think that that goes hand in hand with building a mentality that is different from the mentality that you had before you quit drinking. Sounds obvious, but a lot of people don't seem to do that. A lot of people quit drinking and they continue to allow themselves to ruminate about their best experiences with alcohol or reminisce about alcohol or miss alcohol. And I remember when a few days after I detoxed, I went to a support meeting and someone said, I've been sober for 15 years and it's still a daily struggle. I miss alcohol. I'm not going to drink today, something like that. And I remember thinking about how depressing that was. Like, that's kind of insane that someone has spent a decade and a half missing something that they're not allowing themselves to do because they know that it's horrific for them, but for whatever reason, they still attach a lot of significance to that one thing that they're not allowed to do. It's kind of like they live in a malevolent universe. And I didn't want to live in a malevolent universe. At the time, I thought, you know what, maybe I'll just get out of here and I'll drink because this is a weird, horrific catch-22 and I don't want to not be able to do something forever that apparently I'm going to be missing forever. It just seemed like a bad existence. And luckily, there is a way out of that. It doesn't have to be that way. I was lucky enough to stumble across some books on NLP or neurolinguistic programming after I quit drinking. And I highly recommend you check out that subject if you want to take control of your mentality. I was introduced to it by some Tony Robbins books, actually. Unlimited Power and Awaken the Giant Within were two books that I read after I quit drinking that helped me realize that we have more power over our beliefs than we think we do. And that's also a central premise of NLP. And so without going too deep here, I just want to say that I think it's really important to challenge unexamined assumptions that you still have about alcohol. For me, the unexamined assumption, or the limiting belief, you might say, was that alcohol is the best thing ever. I had allowed myself, even after I quit drinking for some time, to allow my most positive experiences, which, because I drank for over a decade, had occurred in the presence of drinking and alcohol. I had let them be defined by alcohol. And so I ran the risk of assuming that good times equal alcohol. And thank God I stayed away from alcohol for long enough to have some really awesome experiences in which alcohol was not present and which made me realize that all alcohol does is monopolize brain chemicals that you already own. You already produce them. Alcohol leases them back to you for 15 to 20 minutes per drink for fake artificial bliss. And then you have to have another drink or maybe go to bed and hope that you don't wake up with a hangover or withdrawal symptoms. And so the real malevolent universe occurs for people who don't quit drinking. I don't envy them at all. Obviously, there are people, I'm talking about people who are addicted to alcohol. There are people who can take it or leave it. But even to this day, because I've built a new mentality about alcohol itself and about its utility for me, or its lack of utility. I see it as a toxic carcinogen that bloats my face, makes me gain unwanted weight, clogs up my liver, causes inflammation, gives me brain fog. Things that I really don't want to have happen, even on a very superficial level, not to mention the effect that it would have on other people around me. But when I see people drinking these days, if I go to a wedding reception and people are drinking wine, or if it's New Year's and people open a champagne bottle, alcohol is unavoidable in our culture. But what is avoidable is the significance that you attach to other people drinking in your presence. And what is avoidable is the sense of longing or missing alcohol that so many people who quit drinking a long time ago still seem to have. And so this is why I named my book Drinking Sucks, my ebook Drinking Sucks, because it is the exact opposite of what I assumed for so long. I thought drinking was the best thing ever. And so I kind of deconstruct that entire belief system in that book. I can't do that here, but I will say that after having changed my mentality to one in which alcohol is a moot substance, or at best an exhausted resource for me, something that I might have gotten something out of for a short period of time before it became a burden on the rest of my identity and my life, I now think of it as something that other people use so that they can get on my level in terms of mood and daily and social functioning and confidence and ability to relax. So that has been a super empowering belief for me, not being at all a slave to alcohol or a slave to the memory of alcohol, but instead having transcended it entirely. And so obviously this is a bit of an esoteric subject. I highly recommend checking out my ebook, Drinking Sucks, or my course, Total Alcohol Recovery 2.0, if you want to learn more about some mental strategies that you can use to transcend alcohol. But I just want to relate one more experience before I wrap this up. And that is about 6 months after I quit drinking, I had just discovered magnesium citrate. I didn't know about a lot of what I write about on my site now, but I had started sleeping better. I didn't feel 100%. I felt maybe 75%. And by the way, it doesn't need to take you 6 months. I just didn't learn about any of this stuff until around then, at least. So I started sleeping better, and I remember waking up at 6:30 in the morning after having gone to bed at 10. And I felt really rested. And that was new to me. I always said I'm not a morning person, and to some extent that's still true. I prefer to stay up late. But I had been able to enjoy the sensation of getting out of bed at an earlier time than I'd ever enjoyed that sensation before. I had always been late to work, or frequently been late to work before I quit drinking. And even after I quit drinking, I felt bad for a long time. And this particular morning, the sun had yet to rise. And so I went outside and there was a beautiful sunrise. And I remember enjoying that sunrise and feeling something in my brain as if, like, the last time I had felt that good was when I was drinking. And then I had an epiphany. I was thinking, I can feel as good without alcohol as I ever did with it. Alcohol was only taking brain chemicals that I was already producing and saving them for each time that I would decide to consume alcohol. And so that was a huge turning point for me personally, having that experience when I realized that even alone, in the absence of other people, I could feel relaxed and calm and stable and even happy without alcohol. And so I think it's worth definitely hang in there. If you've quit drinking recently, there is light at the end of the tunnel. That's another huge message on my site. The more proactive you are about your recovery, the quicker you'll become recovered. And also take a look at those beliefs that you have about alcohol that are going to hold you back. If you assume another limiting belief could be you can't have fun at parties without alcohol, or everyone drinks, I may as well drink too. Or another limiting belief could be I can't make a change today for X number of BS reasons. Take a look at those beliefs, deconstruct them, find references or pieces of information that you can use to build a new belief system, and this entire process will be a lot easier for you. So that's about enough for today, but if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and feel free to subscribe for more. Thanks.